Hello and welcome to the very first edition of the FM Creators Show, an FM Creators community podcast. Join us every week to keep in the loop with all the latest news from Football Manager and FM Creators Discord. My name is Daz, or Kylex Plays, and with me I have Keep It Simple.
Hello.
And Adam, the Super Swan.
Hello guys, my name is Adam and I am a Super Swan.
He certainly is. How are you both? You okay?
Doing good.
Good
not
stuff.
too bad, not too bad. I've had 14 hours sleep in preparation for the podcast. My whole systems go.
Did you dream anything? Did you get any inside information through dreaming?
Well, you know, we're going to be talking about the release date of the beta, so I will keep that close to my chest.
Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the nearing release of FM20, obviously, our favourite upcoming features in FM20, the first ever FMCShow Quiz, and our beta save plans for FM20. So, hope you enjoy the show, guys. Okay, so the first thing we're going to touch on, guys, is the release date. So, I've got the past 5 episodes or editions of Football Manager release dates here. They've all landed on a Friday, so the chances of this one landing on a Friday is pretty high, I imagine. FM15 was the 7th of November, FM16 was the 13th of November, 17 the 4th of November, 18 the 10th of November, and 19 was the 2nd of November. So, can you see a pattern there at all?
Normally about the first sort of week in November, as long as it's not in the first couple of days by the looks of it. So, obviously comes true with FM19, or FM18 actually, because you said that was the 10th of November.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see when this one lands, but there's already speculation that it's going to be around the same sort of date.
Yeah, I think
it makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, looking
does.
at it,
Well, because I've got it written down in front of me, I've noticed that FM15 was the first week, FM16 was the second week, FM17 was the first week, FM18 was the second week, FM19 was the first week. So this one has to be the second week.
I mean, to be fair to them, it probably will be the second week, because the first week is actually the 1st of November.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to be.
The first Friday would be the 1st of November, and the second Friday will be the 8th of November. So if it goes to the second week, it will only be the 8th of November.
yeah, it doesn't give really much time, does it? If they're going to be releasing it on the 1st, I mean, history does say it's the 1st or 2nd week, and with the first week being the 1st of November, personally, I think it's probably going to be the 2nd week.
Yeah. I mean, it's only early on the second week as well, isn't it? So it's not, it's like a day after the second week.
It could be the 3rd week for all we know. It could be the 3rd week, which is the 15th of November. Because of how early the first week is, you never know.
It could. So them two seem to be the main sort of ideas of when it's going to be released. I did put a poll out on the FM Creators Twitter. Let's just take a look at what that is going. So it was only about an hour and a half ago. We've got 35 votes. 29% think the 1st of October, and the 71% think the 8th of November.
I take you mean 1st of November, not October.
I did. That was a test. Well done. You passed.
Unless someone secretly got the game and they're not telling us about it, you need to fess up whoever you are.
So yeah, the 1st of November, and the 8th of November. So 8th of November is like the vast majority think that that's the case. So we're looking at getting the beta then on the 18th of October or the 25th of October, if them dates are right.
Probably the 25th. It's 2
I think
weeks
25th
later.
as well.
Yeah, I think the 25th. I think we've all become FM creators have all sort of learned to just be a bit more patient, and if it comes earlier, then we're happy. Because I think if we all go, well, let's expect it on the 18th, and we've got to wait a full 7 days for it to come out. I think that's when we're all going to lose our minds.
Yeah, we'll start twitching and have sort of, if you haven't had nicotine for a while, that's what an FM is to us.
yeah, exactly. So are we all agreed that we think it's probably going to be the second week? And I think Super Swan, Adam, you think maybe the third week even?
Possibly so. I mean, in all fairness, I think the 8th is probably going to be off but history where it's going to be. But, because of that 1st November being that first week, it might just be too soon for Miles over at SI to get that sorted. So I'm going to think the 8th, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the 15th.
From what I've heard, I've known someone that apparently has inside sources and is known to have it inside sources. It is meant to be the 8th. And even on Steam, if you go to buy it on Steam and add it to your cart, it says predicted release date is the 8th. So it's interesting to see where it's going to actually land.
I
pre-ordered the 8th.
Yeah, I pre-ordered mine. I'm sure it said the 8th on that as well. But then they sent an email out because I got mine off 2 Game. They sent mine out and they sent an email out after saying, it's been recalled or something, so it's not quite ready to go on pre-order yet. But I'd already pre-ordered it, so I'm guessing they'll still honour that. They took my money, so they better.
Yeah, well, Miles is very secretive on the old Twitter. He never likes to give out dates and says it's ready when it's ready. So,
yeah.
We've had little red herrings like that before with when release dates are going to be. So, I mean, penciled in for the 8th, but we could be a week before, week after.
Yeah, I feel or especially from what I've heard, what we've seen on there's a tweet put out, someone asked about the release date, and Miles actually responded to it and went, well, I don't know. If you ask the lads over at Football Manager on Twitter when it is, and then they might give you an answer. And then they went, and then Football Manager tweeted back to them and went, well, the fact is, in this next week, we will release when the game is coming out. So it's going to be interesting in this next week.
Yeah, it is by. I think it's by a month. Oh, is it tomorrow? Is it by the end of the week or the end of next week that they're supposed to be saying it?
By the end of not today, which is Sunday.
Sometime next week.
So sometime next week it should be released.
Okay. So yeah, I think we probably. I mean, can you imagine if a AAA game did that? Like, how many fans would lose their heads? Like, we've just learned to become very patient, haven't we?
And Football Manager's the only game that I can think of that does this with release dates. Because normally with big games and even indie games, they normally know when they're going to be bringing their game out or when the release date is. But with Football Manager, it's just a unique sort of game and community. You just don't know.
I think he does it for kind of deadline day reasons. At the end of the day, the transfer window's open for so many weeks, a Premier League season. And, deadline day is the day that everyone sits in front of their telly all day and watches it.
That's a good point, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's that sort of kind of syndrome, where, they keep us hanging, they keep us waiting, and then they know that, but as soon as it comes out, everyone's just going to, go mad for it.
They know we're going to be buzzing by the time we release, which is what happens with these AAA games, that they release the release date so early, and they stick themselves in that set in that stone. That's the thing with Football Manager. They try and change as much as possible, and make sure the game is as good as possible before they release it. So what happens there is the fact that they don't release the release date until they know it's going to be ready by then, because it's going to be easily done. Compared to these games that decided to set their release date in stone months in advance and still have a very buggy game.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it doesn't really help with the bugs. we still end up with some bugs in there, don't we? That us hardcore creators will, and Miles knows as well. He knows that he's going to get bombarded with DMs and tweets and stuff. I think he loves it secretly. He pretends he doesn't, but I think he loves it.
Yeah, I feel like, in all honesty, with Football Manager, that's what makes Football Manager, especially with the match engine. But apparently the match engine is changing a lot, which is going to be interesting to see, because that's what some people complain about the most for some weird reason.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that.
I read something the other day actually about the match engine, and it was actually quite surprising. Everyone's going on about it being, it should be more like FIFA and all that. The thing is apparently it was modelled on, is it actual soccer or virtual soccer?
Yes, I heard that as well. Yeah.
So actually, it shouldn't be anything like FIFA. you
I
know,
wouldn't want it to be like FIFA, to be honest with you. If it was anything like FIFA, I'd be raging more than I would be over Football Manager.
yeah. And can you imagine getting it to play on your computer with the database size as well?
Oh, that's a whole other story, to be honest with you. That'd be absolutely mental if that was happening. But I mean, about the match engine, I mean, to be honest, I mean, if you think about the match engine as to where it is now to where it was 10 years ago, it was non-existent. We didn't even have a match engine 10 years ago. We just had circle dots going through it, which I guess you could call a simpler version of. So, I mean, obviously it's going to have its bugs, or, it's not a bug, guys, it's a feature. But, every year it's going to be coming upon. I think, like we were saying, I think Miles seems to love it on Twitter. He seems to love having all the feedback and responding, and it's all about the banter for him. Like, so, it's just what it is, I guess. So we'll just see what happens when the game comes out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Keep up the bants, Miles.
I do wonder if this match engine is going to still cause me to have my players pass it back to my keeper and somehow get nutmegs.
Oh, it's probably going to happen. We all know it's going to happen.
Those own goals are the worst, but they're the magnificent of the Met as well.
Yeah, we'll keep that for a different episode, because I'm sure we could go on for an hour about these little parts of the game, as Miles would call them.
Oh, yes.
Okay, guys, so now the next little piece or snippet, we're going to be talking about the upcoming features in FM20, our favourite upcoming features in FM20. Keep it simple. Do you want to go first with yours?
Yeah. So obviously we've always wondered what happens with our wages, because you always get offered these small wages when you're such a low level, if you are someone that says Road to Glory or Journeyman. It's going to be interesting, because the fact is they've now added in the achievements for it, because the fact is Foot Manager only sims football. But it's going to be interesting to see among your mates who earns the most, or who's actually earned, say, so much in that time, in that save. And it's going to be interesting to see, and just have a bit of a competition who can reach whatever first, and you'll be able to accurately see who gets it by the achievement.
Yeah, I think the only thing with the wages I would change, and I think I've heard this said a few times, is why shouldn't we? I think Booed FM was one of the main ones that brought this one to light. Why can't we pay to do our own badges? Like, if you want to do a badge, if you say you start off a lower league manager and you've got next to no experience or whatever, and you want to do one of your badges, but the club can't afford it, why can't you then use your wages to pay for that badge?
Yeah, I feel like that as well. And say if you're with the club and you're going to be with them for a long time, if their finances are running a bit low, then why can't you then say pump the money that you've got in your career earnings back into the club?
Yeah,
that'd be an interesting one as well.
There could be things
that's
like that,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of the time, I know when I play Journeyman Saves, it's almost like you're not even looking about how much money you're on, because ultimately it doesn't make a difference anyway. So I tend to put myself as low wages as I can to help the club out in other areas. So it'd be nice to actually have that mean something, whether it be through achievements or paying through the coaching courses, anything like that. I think would be of massive benefit to the game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever paid any attention to how much money I get given in a contract, because there's literally no motivation to do that, is there? It's like it literally gives you nothing. Like, if you could use that, and I know they say, well, yeah, but it's not part of the game, but yeah, actually, coaching badges are part of your game, and the fact that if your club that you're with can't pay for you to progress, then you can't progress, which it kind of puts you in that catch-22 situation, doesn't it?
Exactly.
100%.
It's like you have to go to a lower club that's richer.
Yeah, but you might be at a club where you've actually done some background work already, and you didn't want to actually leave, but unfortunately, to progress your career, you kind of have to. I know there's other ways around it, but the point is you've got the money, it does nothing, so why not have just one option saying, well, you can pay for it yourself? Like, when you say you do a coaching badge, you have to go to speak to the board. Maybe you can say, if they say we can't afford it, you can say, well, I'll pay for it out of my own wages, and then that just takes whatever the coaching badge money is off your wage, and it's it's sorted then.
Exactly.
Well, even in the game, I mean, senior players, when they retire, sometimes will fund the course themselves. I've seen that in some of my games, where it says, senior players fund the course themselves to get coaching badges.
Exactly. So why can't the actual player and the manager do it. It makes no sense, does it?
Miles,
The
if
person
you're
who's
listening,
playing
get
the
on it.
Yeah,
I
they
suppose.
should.
Oh, sorry for that. I was going to say, I suppose this can be a way of how do they actually code it in to say, oh, look at this, you've got this much money, and then say deduct. Remember that, say ID1 is the top, is the like lowest badge, and it's worth this much, and take it off for that, and do it that way.
Yeah,
It's
it'd just be
how
like a
do you
transfer,
work
wouldn't it? It'd code in like a transfer. So instead of a player, you'd get a badge. So you'd pay. They take it, and you always have the career earnings anyway, don't they? So it's not like there's not anything
Yeah.
to take that off.
I
So
suppose it is actually, yeah.
it's pretty simple. It would just be coded in, I imagine, like a transfer. But instead of getting a player, you get a badge.
Yeah, but I'll say that actually sounds like a good plan. It's interesting to see if that does ever come in a future FM. You never know, it might come next FM. But I feel like this FM, they've been talking about small features, match engine, more or less.
Yeah.
And then you've got, obviously, Google Stadia, which still, I think that talk has actually died down recently.
Yeah, I think the thing about that is it's going to have a couple of years of bugs and issues, I think. What would
I'm
it be?
curious to see. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out really, because the whole point of Stadia is it being on like servers, not at your home.
Yeah,
So if something goes on in that server, how's that going to affect FM? Now, with FM, I mean, I know they've announced other AAA games going on Stadia with when it comes to refresh rate and how responsive it is. The good thing about FM is it's very much, it's not very, you don't need high FPS to play FM, but I'm still very curious to see on the first outing how that all plays out.
yeah, it is an interesting one. But let's not get off on too much of a tangent on Stadia. We will probably look at that at some point in the future episode of the show, because it is a massive new generation of. It's not a console. I don't know what to call it, but it is something big. So I think we will probably discuss it. And what with Football Manager being one of the breakout games on it, it's definitely something to discuss. So, Super Swan or Adam, even what's your favourite feature in FM20 this year?
So for me, I'm more of a visuals kind of guy. I like my game to look, very pretty, very easy to use. So for me, it's the new gen faces that have come in. They've got a little slide on their Twitter about what they look like, and they now only look 50% alien as opposed to 75% or 80%. So I know a big thing over the years has been new gen faces. I know I've been moaning about it myself over the last few years. So the fact that they've actually, taken the time, and they look fairly decent. I mean, I haven't seen them in the game, obviously, but before the release, looking at the screenshots and looking at the videos they put out there, they look not too bad.
Yeah,
Touch wood. They actually look like humans.
Well, you say humans. I know the manager face they show is basically Wayne Rooney, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So I wonder if he got any royalties from that.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, if any other footballers are on there, maybe David Beckham have a face like him, maybe, that would be my choice personally if I wanted to face match myself to anybody. But
well, maybe that's the issue. Maybe for David Beckham it would have cost a lot more than Wayne
Hair
Rooney.
transplant, yeah.
Well,
Do you know
if
what I
you
mean?
want to use my face, then, just saying, putting that
There
out
you
there. If
go.
you want to use my face, I'm more than happy to put that in the game.
There you go, Miles. Adam is more than happy to be the face of the new regens when you make them 100% human.
I was about to say,
Makes rates, Miles.
it's going to be interesting. The next Shrek movie might actually include Football Manager. Look, Shrek's got a football job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shrek United.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I mean, even on going into the graphics and stuff, I know they've seen have you seen the different pitches and how the weather affects the pitches as well? I mean, to be fair, I had to play it a few times myself to kind of work out what the differences was. But
Yeah,
they had
it did
different
take me
textures, like rainy and stuff.
Yeah, but you can start a game by all accounts, and it'll be a bone dry pitch. So the color's like a sort of a light green, and then if it starts raining midway through the match, the green fades and becomes like a darker green, or not fades but gets darker. To show that, and apparently the sliding, when the ball slides, it splashes up and stuff as well if it's raining. Little things like that. I don't know how much more interesting that's going to make it. I mean, Is that something we
for
need?
me, I like to immerse myself in my games. I do. If I'm going into it, I almost feel as if I want to feel as if I'm there. I'm in the stands. I am on the touchline giving my orders. So anything little like that for me, I think is a big thing. I mean, it's never going to be perfect. I'm not saying, but little things like that, like you say about the splashes on the pitch, and players actually looking semi
But it's
like human beings.
It's like I remember last year on FM19 when they first, I think it was in the beta. I think they did fix it in the full game, but when they used to take free kicks, and because they started making the ball curl, didn't they?
Yes.
But it never used to curl. It curled, but it used to sort of keep curling. Like it would curl and it'd go off rather than.
It defied physics.
Yeah. It didn't really make sense. So I'm wondering if with this new thing, it's going to take a couple of updates to correct that as well. Like when the players are sliding along the pitch, is the rain going to be sliding with them, or when the ball's sliding along the pitch, is it the splashes, are they going to be in the right direction and stuff like that? I guess we'll find out when it comes out, but they're things that I think we should probably expect to have little niggles being brand new in the game.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So my preference, I mean, there is a lot of good ones, but I think my preference is the playing time pathway, because there's nothing more annoying than signing a player who's he's a wonder kid, or not necessarily a wonder kid, but pretty good, and he's not quite good enough to play in your first team yet. But in a year or two, with the right training and loan moves and all that, he's going to be like the one. But the problem is he wants to go straight into your first team because you've bought him, and that's what he expects.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I bought a player. This is on my most recent save. I bought a goalkeeper from West Brom in the National League, and he's going to be a great goalkeeper, and that's why I bought him, because I'm going to get so much profit off of him. But he was like, "Well, why aren't you playing me, boss?" Because I had to play him for a little bit because I had no goalkeeper because they were both injured.
That's it. As soon as you put them in your team, they then want to be first team players.
Exactly.
So it's a bit annoying. I think with this one, if you sign a player, you can. I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons in advance. You can sort of go right. So this season you're probably going to be rotation, cup games and stuff like that. Like I was saying this the other day on my Twitch save with Charlton Athletic. I don't know if you was in there then, Adam, but I was pointing out the fact that when they come to you moaning about not playing enough, and you say, well, I'll start you in, because you're not playing them because they're not good enough. That's the bottom line. And you say to them, well, I'll start playing you in the cup games, and if you impress me in the cup games, then we'll talk about you going in the first team. Not once in the whole time I've ever played Football Manager have I ever had a player who's happy with that. They always say it's not gonna cut it. It's like, well, then why have it as an option? Like, surely that's a good way of proving yourself. It makes no sense that the players are not happy. You're saying, okay, you're not happy with not playing at all. I'll put you in some cup games, prove me wrong, and you'll be in the first team in no time. And I think they're the issues, and that's why I think this playing time pathway will be brilliant, because you can sort of lay it out in the next 3 or 4 years how they're going to sort of feature for your club, which I think is brilliant.
I'm curious to see if there's a way you can actually change it mid-contract, only because you might sign the most amazing wonder kid going. You've said by season 3 he's going to be a first-team player. Maybe his development doesn't go as good as you think it's going to go. Is he still going to want to expect that first-team football in season 3? Are we going to have that option to say to him, look, we're going to dial it back down to rotation play or whatever the new labels are? So, but I really think this is a good feature. I think it's going to be good planning for the youth players, and we're going to avoid those conversations like, boss, you haven't started me in the last games, and all these awkward conversations that never seem to work, like about the cup things we were talking about. So, no, I'm really up for that. I think that's going to be really good. And again, I'm just curious to see over like a long-term save or over the course of a player's career how that's going to develop as the seasons go on.
Yeah. Okay, so we have had a question from an important member of the FM Creators team that we're going to try and answer.
Ooh.
It was GWFM, and here's question to no one in particular. Is there any unusual records you have ever achieved? Not necessarily recorded in the records tab. On FM18, I had Jason Malumbi sent off in 5 consecutive appearances. Now, I've never had, I say I've never had, in all the time I've played it, I've never really looked at these sort of things. And I think maybe I need to start looking at them, because I didn't realise that sort of stuff was recorded. Any of you two got anything that you think might...
I go one that jumps to head straight away, which may not say be a record, but as soon as you read that out to me, it just came straight to me. And it was when I was playing FM09, I was Farnborough. I was working my way from non-league up to Premier League, and I got to the championship, first season in. And in our first 14 games, we drew 14 games in a row. It was absolutely mental. It got to a point where we'd be winning games, and I thought to myself, right, here we go, 75 minute, it's all going to go wrong. And as you know, it went wrong. So 14 drawn games. And I've never repeated this since. I don't think I will ever repeat it since. But for a team to draw 14 games in a row, to be fair, for a team just promoted to the championship, I was chuffed. I was like, yep, keep getting those points in there. But that is the one for me of 14 drawn games.
Similar to that, you could probably argue my Charlton save at the moment, where I've played like 15 games and I've won 1 and drawn 1. And also the board are happy with that. Like I'm over halfway on the board confidence, even though I'm absolutely rock bottom of the league, and that just because they're quite happy with that. So, what about you? Keep it simple. Have you got anything that stands out?
I feel like I can't remember too much that's actually happened that's much of a record. But in terms of my record books, I've had a player score about, I think it was 36 goals, and that was earlier this year, and that was in one season in the league. And that's when I was back playing as Weymouth in the Southern League Premier South. I forgot because it changed its name, but he played all the games, and he scored all the games. And he's recently moved to Southend, and that's someone called Brandon Goodship that scored all those goals.
Brandon Goodship, look him up, guys.
Just go with first year.
Yeah.
So we have the very first ever FM Creators Quiz. And in this quiz today, we're going to talk about, as it's a game episode about features, we're going to talk about new features in previous games. And what your jobs are, keep it simple, and Adam, is to match the new features with the addition of Football Manager. Okay? We're only going back as far as FM15. So it's obviously going to be from FM15 to FM19. And they're not going to be in order, so don't think of that.
Oh, right. Swerving us.
I'm swerving, throwing a swerve ball. Right, so, okay. So, the first new features is Dynamics and Medical Centre. Who wants to go first?
Wow. I think I'm going to put that one on that one. I'm going to go for FM19 on that one. The most latest one other than FM20, yeah.
Okay. And what about you? Keep it simple.
I reckon I remember seeing in the FM19 trailer, so I have to say FM19. I do remember them saying new improved dynamics back last year.
I'm so glad we agree on this. I'm so glad. I was like, oh my god, what if I'm wrong?
Okay. Next up, we have Create a Club mode, Fantasy Draft mode, and the first edition where the manager was on the touchline.
Oh, definitely going to be FM18.
I'm not sure.
Adam?
I'm not sure. I'm going to go with you, mate. I'm going to go with FM... What was it? What do we say? FM18?
FM18.
I'm going to go with that one.
Okay, so you're both in agreement for both of them. And I'm going to tell you now, none of you have got anything right so far.
Oh, it must be the other way around then.
So, we carry on.
FM90 must be fantasy draft.
Oh, we got a team of experts here, guys.
We have. I'm surprised them two are the easy ones as well, to be fair. Well, actually, yeah. Okay, so the next one is 4 brand new player roles, which were roaming playmaker, ramduter, I think, inverted wingback, and wide playmaker. Players growing moustaches for Movember charity.
Ooh.
That sounds like FM16. I'm gonna have to say what FM16.
Okay, what are you saying, Adam?
I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go FM17.
Okay. Okay. And what have we got there? 3. So the next one is social media tab. So you know the tweets and stuff. Quick start mode. New staff. So they added data analysts and sports scientists.
FM17.
Okay.
I want to say FM18.
Okay. Okay, and finally, a massive training overhaul, mentoring system. This might throw something up in the air now. VAR, goal line technology, and manager inductions.
I want to feel like that's FM18. That's VAR. Has it been in for 2? It's got to be in for 2 installations, because didn't they use a VAR in the World Cup? Got to be FM18.
You going 18?
Yep.
Okay, and what about you, Adam?
I'm torn between 18 and 19. They all blur into one.
Yeah, I know. That's to be fair, I did this and I thought this is actually, I don't think I've ever seen this quiz done, but I thought this would be quite a good one. It is a hard one because, like you said, it does blur into one.
I'm going 19. I'm going 9 because the manager inductions, I'm pretty sure, was only in the latest for FM19. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with 19.
So I can tell you guys that actually, you both got 1 apiece.
Oh, get in there.
So
as long as I got 1 on the board, that's
so
fine.
FM19 was, in fact, the massive training overhaul mentoring system, VAR, goal line technology, and manner inductions. FM18, and this is for anyone at home who's done the quiz as well to check the answers. FM18 was Dynamics and Medical Centre. Dynamics came in FM18, which is what Keep It Simple got. Social media tab, quick start mode, new staff data analysis, and sports scientists were FM17. FM16 was create a club mode, fantasy draft mode, manager on the touchline. And FM15 was the one with the 4 player roles and the players growing moustaches for November. And as it's a 1-1 draw, we need to do a
question.
Yeah, which I hadn't planned for, to be fair, but I can do this, right? So it's a multiple choice question. Which Football Manager edition included the first official real-time editor? Was it FM12, 13 or 14? Keep it simple, you can go first.
In real-time in-game editor. I feel like FM12 is a bit too early.
Okay.
But I've not played 13 or 14. So I'm going to have to say... Oh, wait. Do I remember seeing that, though? I'm going to have a guess of FM12.
Okay.
I think I can remember seeing it on the store.
Okay. And what about your guess, Adam?
I'm debating as well. I think it's either 12 or 13, but seeing as 12's already been taken, I'm going to go for 13.
You and half making this hard for me. Neither of you got that right. It was FM14. Okay, so we'll try another one. The first, it'll be the same 3, so FM12, FM13 or FM14. Which FM edition was the first to include FM Classic?
FM Classic. I'm gonna go. Oh wait, you said 12, 13, and 14 again.
Yeah.
12.
12. What are you saying, Adam?
I'm going to go 13.
And we have our winner. But who is it?
Dun dun dun.
Drum roll, please. The first FM edition to feature the FM Classic was FM 13.
Ah.
So well done, Adam. That means that you are the quiz master for next week.
Oh, big pressure now, guys. You wait for it next week. Oh, here we go.
So we'll be pitting. So that's one on the board for Adam.
1 for 1.
One and one. I mean, to be fair, let's not be too proud of that.
Hey, 1 for 1. I am undefeated.
Oh yeah, but you only got 2 questions out of 7 right.
Let's not forget about that bit. Let's forget about that.
All right, we'll sweep that bit under the carpet. I'll edit that out. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, so now we are gonna talk about our beta save plans. So keep it simple. This was your idea, so you can go first. Tell us a little bit about your idea for your beta save.
Oh, beta save. It's going to differ from my proper save because I with any game I never trust the beta. Although FM's normally quite good, the fact is it's been known to be messed about with, and especially if there's a really massive bug in the game or like sort of anything happens in between those 2 weeks, it'll be interesting. So I feel like I'm gonna have to save for my beta save. I might have to go with the Scottish Giants Celtic again, and see if I can actually build them up to a Champions League win or
Scottish
Europa
Giants.
League win.
Rangers are top of the league at the minute, aren't they?
What, for the first time in about 10 years?
Controversy, yeah, but they're still not got as much money and every quality as Celtic. So
In
it's
all honesty,
surprising.
Celtic have put the foot off the pedal, so it's going to be a case of can I put that foot back on that pedal, right on
Okay.
that pedal for Europa?
So what's
glory.
the plan? Take the top spot back off Rangers, or Europa League glory, or even Champions League glory? I mean, it's only going to be a couple of weeks, isn't it?
European glory, and I'm going to make sure that every 3 minute I have is going to be spent on that game to make sure I can get something done in those 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, you'll have to keep us up to date in the Discord. So thanks for that. Keep it simple. And what about yourself, Adam, the Super Swan?
So I think for me this year, I think when it comes to betas, I think as has already been said, I think a lot of things, there's new features and bugs potentially cropping up. So I don't like to get anything long-term done in a beta save. But for this year, I'm going to go for Bayern Munich. And the reason I've gone for Bayern Munich is that I think they're a team in transition at the moment. They've got rid of Robben, Ribéry. They've got some new players going in. Coutinho's gone out on loan to Bayern. So it's a very much a team in transition. So as much as they've dominated the Bundesliga, but Dortmund have got a very decent team this year. I mean, Jadon Sancho's doing very well. Marco Reus, obviously a legend at Dortmund. So I think it's not going to be as easy as it's made out to be. But I think for the first 2 weeks of the beta save, we're going to go Bayern Munich. We're going to try and see if we can bleed in the new players, see how we get on. A potential Champions League win? Who knows?
Okay, the king of cliffhangers there. Thanks, Adam. So mine, I would say I'm gonna go with you for the short European trip and all that, but I'll be lying because I'm just gonna do what I always do and play as my team, Newcastle, and I don't think Europe is even in their vocabulary. So
to be fair, that's a big challenge at Newcastle.
Yeah, well, I always play. I support Newcastle, so they're the easiest team to go for. Just for the beta, I never play them in the full game, or very rarely. I did for the Mad Scientist 95-96 season database for obvious reasons, but I generally don't play as Newcastle in the full game. So again, for the same reasons as you, Adam, it's mainly to get used to the new features and get used to how things go on the game. And obviously, like, you know, obviously we have to report back any bugs and stuff. So, like you said, it's better to go with a team you're quite familiar with, not necessarily a team, like, because I think if you go for a lower league sort of save that you're going to carry over, the problem is if there's a bug that prevents you doing that, all that work's gone to pot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's always the fear.
yeah, so just something
happens.
very short term and familiar. So Newcastle United for me. I'm not even sure if it'll be an online thing. I might put it on Twitch, but we'll see. So that's all we have time for this week. But before we go, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to listen to us. If you want more Football Manager talk, be sure to check out @FMCreators on Twitter and join the Discord via the link in the bio. If you want to help the show grow, please retweet the tweets that we send out, spread the word, answer the polls, and you know, just generally be involved. And we will be back again next week. For now, it's goodbye from me, goodbye from Adam,
Goodbye.
and goodbye from Keep It Simple.
See you later.
Until next week, guys, keep on winning.